Chapter 61, Guidance. As Lin Yuan was answering the questions, he didn't feel the flow of time. He successively answered from the first question to the last question, without any pause in between. In fact, when answering the questions, Lin Yuan was wearing the glasses that genius had transformed into. At that moment, he was learning and sorting through the information. The knowledge learned by genius still belonged to genius, and if genius didn't use tool transformation and transformed into a pair of glasses, Lin Yuan's mind wouldn't have the knowledge that genius possessed. Lin Yuan knew that learning was an unending path. Lin Yuan was currently using some tricks to pass the exams on the lifestyle class knowledge occupations. Naturally, this kind of knowledge was something that Lin Yuan had to learn slowly. Take the exam questions on this paper, for example. During the process of answering, Lin Yuan would be able to have a rough memory, and the transferred knowledge would subtly turn into his own knowledge after he wrote what he learned once. This was a gain. There were plenty of gains that were insignificant, but when all the small gains were accumulated, they would achieve a transformation. Elder Ning had been watching as Lin Yuan answered the questions, and he hadn't realized how much time had passed either. When he saw Lin Yuan standing up to hand over the exam papers, Elder Ning looked at the time and was shocked and couldn't understand what happened. Elder Ning had been watching Lin Yuan answering the questions and could see that Lin Yuan had answered them calmly. However, the time taken to answer all those questions was just too fast. Back when he had drafted up the questions, he had put in plenty of time and effort in order to make the questions tricky. Elder Ning couldn't believe that Lin Yuan had answered them so quickly, but he could also see that Lin Yuan's calm manner when answering the questions wasn't a pretense too. Elder Ning simply took over Lin Yuan's exam papers and read them. Lin Yuan stood in place as his mind was blank when he was in a deep state of learning. He enjoyed the feeling when he was in control of knowledge. Elder Ning read the papers, which had Lin Yuan's neat and pleasant handwriting. A good handwriting wasn't considered a big deal after the spirit chi awakening, but it was able to give a good impression. The more Elder Ning read, the more surprised he was. These questions were all answered with a standard answer. First page, second page, third page. From start to finish, Elder Ning couldn't find a single mistake. As such, Elder Ning started from the beginning and checked through again with detail and very seriously. However, after checking again, the result was still the same, there wasn't a single mistake. In other words, full marks for all 3 lifestyle class spirit chi occupations primary exams. It was an unbelievable fact, but there was no way to dispute it. Had it not been for the fact that Elder Ning had set the questions himself and was certain that they hadn't been leaked out, he would think that Lin Yuan was holding on to the answer sheet to answer the questions. After staying silent for a long time, Elder Ning lifted his head and looked at Lin Yuan with grave eyes and admiration. His eyes were grave because this was simply too unbelievable. The admiration was because of Lin Yuan's results on the exams, and also how Lin Yuan had answered them with a calm attitude. It was also because of the level of detail in Lin Yuan's study that didn't allow Elder Ning to pick out any mistakes. Lin Yuan looked at Elder Ning and asked, "Elder Ning, can I participate in the Creation Master exam now?" Elder Ning shook his hand and said, "Great kid, heroes are truly born from the youth. You are truly capable. But you will not be able to take the Creation Master exam today. Leave your information here and just come over to participate in the Creation Master exam tomorrow." Lin Yuan was rather confused. "I have already finished the exams for the Knowledge Spirit Chi occupations. Why can't I participate in the Creation Master exam immediately? If I participate in the exam tomorrow, and if I wish to rush straight to become a Class 2 Creation Master, I might miss out on the appointment time with Big Sister Xin. I will not be able to pick up on any hidden wares. Elder Ning, can't I take the exam today? I wish to try and see if I can complete the Class 1 Creation Master exam within 2 hours. Elder Ning's mouth twitched as he looked at Lin Yuan with solemn eyes, and he nearly poured out praises from his mouth. "Kid, you are rather ambitious to complete the Class 1 Creation Master exam within 2 hours. Could it be that you wish to rush straight for Class 2 Creation Master?" Elder Ning might be speaking like this, but Lin Yuan's exam results made Elder Ning believe Lin Yuan a little. His intuition told him that Lin Yuan was really able to complete the Class 1 Creation Master exam within 2 hours. "Even if that is the case, you still have to come again tomorrow. Who asked you to obtain such high marks in the exams and break the records for the Creation Master Association's Knowledge Spirit Chi occupations primary exams? Therefore, I need to report your results for the 3 exams to the Lifestyle Class Spirit Chi occupations associations. I have to go through the necessary process." Lin Yuan nodded after hearing Elder Ning's reply. Just as he was about to leave, Elder Ning called out to him. "Don't be in a hurry to leave. follow me to the breeding room to see the spiral-toothed sharks that I have nurtured. Take a look at this old man's research. Lin Yuan had yet to pass the Creation Master exam, but it was obvious that Elder Ning had already treated Lin Yuan as a junior with great potential. Even his words had the implied meaning to offer guidance. In fact, it was due to Elder Ning's admiration for Lin Yuan. Otherwise, even if Lin Yuan was a Class 3 Creation Master, Elder Ning couldn't be bothered either. To become a vice president in a city's Creation Master Association, one must definitely be a Class 4 Creation Master. There was a tradition in the Creation Master Association. There were no presidents in all cities' Creation Master Associations, even in the Radiance Federation's Royal Capital's Creation Master Association. The person with the highest level of authority would be the vice president. Among the Creation Masters, there were 3 absolute experts, and they were the Class 5 Creation Masters at the pinnacle: Bamboo Monarch, Chef Supreme and Moon Empress. Bamboo Monarch and Chef Supreme were veteran Class 5 Creation Masters. They had been the earliest batch of Creation Masters since the Spirit Chi Awakening and stood at the peak of the Creation Masters. The Moon Empress rose up afterward and used her talents to become a Class 5 Creation Master. She had then concealed herself, and no one else knew about her progress. During the recent decade, the Moon Empress had been laying low. But since she had been given the title of Empress, no one else had dared to proclaim themselves as Empress. The Bamboo Monarch, Chef Supreme, and Moon Empress didn't wish to take on the role of a president in the Creation Master Association, so they were given the title of Honorary Elders. As such, to show respect to the Bamboo Monarch, Chef Supreme, and Moon Empress, the Creation Master Association didn't appoint any presidents and only appointed vice presidents. For Lin Yuan to be admired and acknowledged by Elder Ning, it would definitely cause countless Creation Masters to be envious if it was made known. When an elder offered an invitation, Lin Yuan naturally didn't dare to refuse. In addition, he was very interested in Platinum Phase. To be invited by Elder Ning to his breeding room to observe was truly a pleasant surprise for Lin Yuan. The Creation Master's breeding room was considered a private territory, and it was rare for outsiders to be invited inside, especially to observe a Platinum Fae that was being nurtured. Lin Yuan followed Elder Ning into the latter's breeding room. As soon as Lin Yuan entered the room, he could smell a unique smell that could only be found from seawater. There was also a violent pressure that enveloped the room. The scenery in the breeding room was truly a surprise for Lin Yuan. It was massive, and when Lin Yuan took a glance, he could see a huge pool that had a width of close to 1,000 meters. It was just like a small-scaled artificial sea. The intimidating pressure from the sea felt as though it had mighty attack power. At that moment, Lin Yuan felt Elder Ning circulating the spirit chi. 3 willpower runes were emitted from the body and released powerful spiritual power waves. The spiritual power had an aura that allowed Lin Yuan to know that Elder Ning was a Class 4 Creation Master and also a King Class expert. Chapter 62, Spiral-Toothed Shark. Lin Yuan felt that he was like a lonely boat in the middle of the ocean and might be engulfed by the waves at any moment. This was because Elder Ning had intentionally withdrawn his prowess from Lin Yuan. Otherwise, a King Class prowess would instantly pressure Lin Yuan to the ground. Freewebnov, E.L. As Elder Ning released his prowess, a massive shadow appeared in the small-scale man-made sea. The bright silver dorsal fin had dark red patterns, and it looked just like a sharp sword that was splitting the surface of the sea. A massive body that was 10 meters in length leaped out of the sea surface before smashing back down again, causing a huge wave. When the current rushed over, Lin Yuan immediately staggered and nearly fell. Elder Ning then gestured to Lin Yuan and gave a simple introduction. "This is my newly nurtured spiral-toothed shark." The spiral-toothed shark had already swum near their vicinity. The teeth of this giant shark were in the shape of a spiraled wheel. It wasn't only the case, as the upper jaw also had a vertical row of sharp teeth. When used together with the lower spiraled teeth, it would form scissors that could slice and cut. This allowed the spiral-toothed shark to turn into a killing machine in the sea, using its spiral teeth and front teeth to sever and slice the lifeforms in front of it. This spiral-toothed shark didn't just have special traits of the prehistoric megalodon, but it even had the complementing traits of the Adestus. It was simply a fascinating breeding result toward the ancestry line. Lin Yuan looked at the spiral-toothed shark while leaning his ear toward Elder Ning. It was obvious that Elder Ning had other things to tell him other than showing him the spiral-toothed shark. "Kid, I have already nurtured this spiral-toothed shark to Platinum X/Legend, but I didn't allow it to evolve to Diamond Grade yet. It is because I want to guide its mutation toward the direction of Megalodon at the juncture of Diamond Grade." After speaking, Elder Ning brought over a Platinum Grade face storage box from the side and took out many glass test tubes. He then opened up the test tubes and started to pour the golden red fluid into the spiral-toothed shark's mouth. Lin Yuan could recognize this golden red fluid. Isn't this a platinum dragon beast's blood? According to Big Sister Xion's price quotation, platinum dragon beast's blood cost 2,000 radiance dollars per drop. Each of these test tubes had around 100 drops. Elder Ning had already poured in 10 test tubes, and they would cost at least 2 million radiance dollars. Lin Yuan had a new mindset of what was luxurious. While Elder Ning was feeding the spiral-toothed shark, he explained the megalodon lived in the sea by hunting dragon beasts. Using dragon beast blood to feed the spiral-toothed shark can guide it toward the mutation of the megalodon. The word creation and creation master might mean that there is nothing we cannot do, but you need to remember that all lifeforms' evolutions have traces that have to be followed. Lin Yuan was carefully pondering over Elder Ning's words while looking at the spiral-toothed shark. He was thinking that if the spiral-toothed shark evolved toward megalodon's direction again, its size would surely burst exponentially. At the same time, it would grow a full mouth of giant teeth apart from the spiral teeth and vertical row of teeth. This would allow the spiral-toothed shark to slice and also rip. Lin Yuan didn't dare to imagine how much stronger the spiral-toothed shark would be by then. After feeding the spiral-toothed shark, Elder Ning led Lin Yuan out of the breeding room while Lin Yuan repeatedly pondered the meaning in Elder Ning's words. All of a sudden, Elder Ning spoke again. A creation master's job isn't just to create and evolve life, it is also to save lives. You may leave now, come earlier tomorrow for the exam. Lin Yuan nodded and bade farewell. When he exited the Creation Master Association, he realized that it was already rather dark. Inside the Creation Master Association, Elder Ning was personally writing a letter and said to the assistant who was standing beside him, "Deliver this letter directly to the Region Lord residence and hand it over to the City Lordess Ling Xiao." After the assistant left, Elder Ning lamented softly while filled with expectations. Lin Yuan, there will be a chance for you to rise to the top tomorrow. It will be determined if you can pass the Class 2 Creation Master exam. Lin Yuan didn't know the reason for the Creation Master Association's reformation, but as the vice president of Redbud City's Creation Master Association, Elder Ning knew. The Creation Master Association's reformation was due to the Moon Empress plan on accepting her first apprentice. It had been many years since the Creation Master Association in the Redbud City had produced a true talent. It was unknown if the Redbud City's Creation Master Association could produce a shining star for the Radiance Federation. Lin Yuan immediately headed for the Redbud Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy. Lin Yuan called Chu Xi's phone number on the car, but he didn't expect someone to pick up the call after ringing for half a minute. It wasn't Chu Xi. It was another familiar voice, and it was none other than Teacher Bao. You are Chu Xi's elder brother, right? Chu Xi is injured and is currently going through treatment. If there isn't any urgent matter, I will ask Chu Xi to return your call after she receives treatment. When Teacher Bao was speaking, Lin Yuan could still vaguely hear crashing and smashing sounds, as though there was a fight. Lin Yuan asked, with a worried tone, "Teacher, why is Chu Xi injured? I am arriving at the academy soon." After hearing Lin Yuan's question, Teacher Bao answered calmly, "Chu Xi pulled the muscles on both her arms because she was blocking an attack. Our academy has been assigned with a silver healing type Fey, and she will be treated quickly. As a senior in the family, you don't need to worry. It is inevitable to have injuries during live combat class. Almost every student would suffer some injuries during the live combat class. This is the only way to build their live combat skill." Teacher Bao's statement made Lin Yuan relax. At the same time, Lin Yuan felt that Chu Xi was injured because the Sharp Iron Horn Bull wasn't a pure defense type Fey. If the Sharp Iron Horn Bull didn't have the exclusive skill Sacrifice, it would be the same as an offense type Fey. If I prepared a traditional defense type Fey for Chu Xi, she might not have gotten injured. Defense type Spirit Chi professionals always had a title, and they were called the thickest armor and the best at enduring attacks. Lin Yuan didn't wish to see Chu Xi getting injured, so he suddenly thought of an idea to forge Chu Xi into an iron bucket. That wasn't enough, though. She must not just be an iron bucket, but one that could prevent vibrations. Lin Yuan would only be at ease when he forged Chu Xi into an iron bucket. It just so happens that Chu Xi is able to contract her second Fey. I shall just prepare Chu Xi's second Fey before the holidays. Teacher Bao, I am at the academy's entrance. I wish to enter the infirmary to see Chu Xi. Wait at the entrance for a moment. Chu Xi needs just a few more minutes for a complete treatment. It just happens that it is dinner time too, so I will allow her to meet you at the academy entrance. You two can have dinner together. After hanging up the call, Lin Yuan stood at the entrance and contemplated what defense-type Fey he should prepare for Chu Ci. The primary rank Fey Observer knowledge allowed Lin Yuan to quickly lock onto a few defense-type Feys. Chapter 63, As an Elder Brother. There were countless species of defense-type Feys. If someone did a serious study, they would find at least 1 million species of defense-type Feys. But when each species of Fey evolved, it might learn similar abilities, or it might be completely different. It was even rarer for exclusive skills to be the same, so one must be very cautious when choosing a Fey. After all, the combination between Feys was a Spirit Chi professional's true trump card and power. While thinking like this, Lin Yuan had a headache. He felt that Feys that were suitable for Chu Ci were all rare, and they required some direction nurturing. Since Lin Yuan had a method to expedite the evolution of Feys, he preferred to pick a normal Fey for Chu Ci. Feys that were nurtured from a young age and constantly evolved would have certain aspects that were stronger than same-grade Feys when at higher grades. It would also have a better mutual understanding with the Spirit Chi professional. As such, there wasn't a reason why Lin Yuan shouldn't pick a low-grade Fey and nurture it for Chu Ci. Just as Lin Yuan was pondering, he suddenly felt a pat on his arm, followed by a pleasant voice. Lin Yuan, why are you here to visit me? Since the previous time Chu Ci had parted with Lin Yuan, she had been under the impression that she would only be able to see Lin Yuan during the holidays. She didn't expect Lin Yuan to visit her again so soon. Lin Yuan took a closer look at Chu Ci first and moved her arms around. When he realized that she was indeed fully healed, he relaxed and said, I am here to participate in the Creation Master exam. It is also convenient for me to bring you out for a meal. Let's go. Didn't you say you wanted to eat barbecued meat the previous time? Let's find a barbecue shop. After speaking, Lin Yuan pulled Chu Ci toward the streets and away from the Redbud Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy. From time to time, female students would come over to flirt with Lin Yuan, making him rather exhausted after dealing with them. Chu Ci let out a sweet smile and asked, then, can I order 1 plate of mutton? Lin Yuan used his hand to gently pat on Chu Ci's head and said, isn't fish your favorite? Why do you still want to eat mutton? Later, I will grill fish for you at the barbecue shop. Chu Ci stuck out her tongue. She might know that her family was rather wealthy now, but she still wasn't used to it yet. After all their young years suffering and hard times, the habits were already engraved in their bones. Of course, it didn't mean that Chu Ci gave money huge importance. On the contrary, she hadn't held back on the spending of the 10,000 Federation dollars that Lin Yuan had transferred to her. The metallic food that she fed to the sharp iron horn bull was superior among the food meant for a bronze sharp iron horn bull. Presently, nothing much was left from the 10,000 Federation dollars. There was an old saying, children from poor families would be responsible household heads much earlier. Chu Ci wasn't a household head, but she understood how the world worked. When looking up from the bottom, the eyes would be filled with reality's harshness. While living in this harsh reality, Chu Ci understood who she was going to rely on in this world. She, too, understood what she had to do in order to survive better in this world and make Lin Yuan happy. It was to study well and increase her strength. If she could become a formidable individual, she would be able to help Lin Yuan, her elder brother. Therefore, after parting with Lin Yuan previously, Chu Ci hadn't taken any side jobs to earn money. She had devoted all her efforts to her academics. At that moment, Chu Ci had this indescribable ease and joy when she was looking at Lin Yuan. Chu Ci's ease didn't come from the change into a wealthier lifestyle, it was due to Lin Yuan's recovered body. Her joy came from the fact that she and Lin Yuan had persisted until now and never separated even in this harsh world. Lin Yuan called for a car and asked after boarding the car, Chu Ci, how do you feel when you are using the sharp iron horn bull? What direction do you wish to develop in regards to your next Fey selection? Lin Yuan could just pick Chu Ci's second Fey for her, but he still wanted to respect Chu Ci's opinion for the general direction. After being asked by Lin Yuan, Chu Ci's face suddenly changed, and she waved her fist with a little anger. The sharp iron horn bull is especially good, and I like it a lot. But a few of my classmates gave me a nickname. Great Iron Bull. They are really too much, Freeweb, and Oval. Lin Yuan involuntarily slapped his forehead after hearing Chu Ci's response. When I was picking the Fey previously, I only cared about the Fey's strength and didn't consider the appearance. Firstly, the conditions back were restricted. Secondly, the sharp iron horn bull's exclusive skill, Sacrifice, was truly a divine skill in Lin Yuan's opinion. The Sacrifice skill was something that could be used by the Fey from start to end. As the Fey got stronger, the Sacrifice skill would only become better. If Lin Yuan hadn't picked the sharp iron horn bull back then, it would truly have been a waste. In addition, after the spirit chi awakening, strength was a person's roots. Everything else was just a useless display of beauty and couldn't even be considered help in time of need. Given his previous life's memories, Lin Yuan's mental state was no longer like a hot-blooded youth's. As an elder brother, he should bring his younger sister along and take revenge by teaching a lesson to those people who had given her that nickname. However, Lin Yuan wouldn't do so. Chu Xi was now an independent person, and in order to mix in into the society, everything that happened was something that she had to experience herself. Only with experience would one grow. Unless Chu Xi was in a true crisis, Lin Yuan would disregard everything and step in. After Chu Xi finished her statement, she immediately followed up. The sharp iron horn bull is incredible. Presently, even the seniors might not be able to defeat me. When speaking of her own results, Chu Xi was delighted. She was a very humble and reserved person, but she was now speaking of her results in hopes of sharing the joy with Lin Yuan. Seeing Chu Xi's confidence and how pleased she was to talk about her live combat lessons experience, Lin Yuan could only feel contentment and happiness in his heart. The truth had proven that his insistence on sending Chu Xi to the academy, no matter the suffering, was the right choice. After the conversation, Lin Yuan and Chu Xi decided on the next defense-type Fei that Chu Xi was going to form a contract with. This time, Lin Yuan and Chu Xi's ideologies were rather matching. It was for Chu Xi to form a contract with a traditional and pure defense-type Fei. Furthermore, it wouldn't be like the sharp iron horn bull, an offense-type Fei that was wearing a layer of defense-type skin and tricking others. During this meal, Lin Yuan and Chu Xi had eaten 3 grilled fish. After the spirit chi awakening, the ocean was now even wider and deeper, making the level of danger immeasurable. Although the Xiao region was beside a port, even with such a great location, fish prices were still astronomical compared to meat. In the past, even when celebrating the new year, Lin Yuan would only go to the market to buy a normal grade fish's head for Chu Xi and then make fish head stew. If they really wanted fish's flesh, Lin Yuan would probably have to starve and tighten his belt for 1 month after the New Year celebration. Chapter 64, Redbud City's Rare Lifeform Pavilion. Presently, with Lin Yuan's earning speed of radiance dollars, eating a few fish was truly not a big deal. After finishing the meal, Lin Yuan transferred 50 radiance dollars to Chu Xi's Star Web account. This was the first time Chu Xi had seen so much money, but when she took a glance at Lin Yuan, she felt the warmth in her heart and felt at ease. Chu Xi, the sharp iron horn bull has to eat more now. Use various metals to enhance the defense of the sharp iron horn bull's skin and its horn's destructive power. After a period of time, I will mail you a pot of silver usnia. The sharp iron horn bull is a herbivorous Fei, and apart from the metals that you feed it, complementing it with the silver usnia will make the sharp iron horn bull even stronger. Chu Xi nodded. No thanks were needed between siblings. If Chu Xi had to thank her elder brother, then she would have countless things to thank him for from the age of 6. Previously, Teacher Bao had asked Chu Xi to strive hard to obtain the Academy's recommendation within the year and, before the end of the first year, to become a seated participant of the Redbud 100. Chu Xi constantly reminded herself of this in her heart. After returning, Chu Xi was planning to apply for a solitary room in the Academy. Lin Yuan had given her a shocking amount of resources, and it wasn't suitable for her to show it in a sharing room. After successfully applying for a solitary room, Chu Xi would work extra hard and use all her efforts to strive and take the title of a seated participant in the Redbud 100. After being selected to join the Redbud 100, she would then strive for the dream of all students in the Radiance Federation, the 100 sequence. This was Chu Xi's ambition. An insignificant person was like a firefly that would want itself to just be an instantaneous burst of light for a short span of February. Chu Xi was very determined with her ambition, and it was also her objective. A small firefly was trying to become an undying radiance. Lin Yuan didn't continue giving Chu Xi instructions as he was at ease and proud of his young sister. Chu Xi and Lin Yuan had been shopping around and bought some delicious snacks and fruits. These were all specially picked by Lin Yuan, and he asked for Chu Xi to give them to Teacher Bao as a sign of gratitude. While walking around, they just happened to enter the Redbud City's Rare Lifeform Pavilion. The Rare Lifeform Pavilion had been around since the Spirit Chi awakening, and it was the biggest and also the only auction organization on the Star Web. It was established by the Radiance Federation's officials. freewebnov.el.com. Apart from the Star Web's Rare Lifeform Pavilion, a large-scale auction would be held every once in a while. On normal days, if anyone wanted to sell off their items through the Rare Lifeform Pavilion's auction, they would need to pay a certain fee before putting them on sale in the rare life form pavilion. During a special period of time, the item would be bid by others. The rare life form pavilion would only show the highest price at the moment, so if anyone else wanted to obtain the item, they would need to bid again. Of course, they could also contact the seller and use a trading method to conduct a private transaction. If that was the case, the fee that was paid to put the item on the rare life form pavilion wouldn't be refunded. Most of the people didn't care about the fee. If anyone paid the fee to place their item on sale in the rare life form pavilion and had a special intention, they would normally leave a note to conduct a special transaction. The fees they paid were just to make use of the rare life form pavilion as a platform to complete the transaction. The rare life form pavilion on the Star Web was different as the merchandise on the Star Web was all interconnected. In the Radiance Federation's main cities, the items for sale on the rare life form pavilion would have to be auctioned, and it was the same as on the Star Web. However, the fays listed in the main city's rare life form pavilions weren't connected with other pavilions. Each local pavilion's items were all sold by the locals. As compared to the Star Web, the standard and audit for actual shops would be much harsher. It was rather rare for general items to qualify for auction in the rare life form pavilion. Lin Yuan patted Chu Xi's shoulder and said, "Let's go inside and take a look." As for most of the fays and spiritual ingredients in the rare life form pavilion, Lin Yuan admitted that he wouldn't be able to afford them. However, there was a specified section in the actual shops that the Star Web didn't have. The section would be selling rarely seen normal and elite fays. It was the section that Lin Yuan wanted to visit tonight. Chu Xi looked rather reserved as she had never stepped into this place before. "We are just taking a look. You might just find something suitable to be your second fay." After entering the rare life form pavilion, one would need to verify their identity with the Star Web card. After verifications, Lin Yuan and Chu Xi were now able to shop around the rare life form pavilion's first floor without obstructions. In order to go to the second floor, one would need a certain rank in their Spirit Chi occupation. For combat class Spirit Chi professionals, they would need to be at least C rank. For lifestyle class Spirit Chi professionals, they would need to be at least class 2. If one was a creation master, even a class 1 creation master would be free to enter the rare life form pavilion's third floor. Lin Yuan wasn't a creation master yet, and none of the conditions were enough for him to enter the second floor either. It just so happened that the section Lin Yuan wanted to visit was on the first floor. Therefore, he led Chu Xi toward the special section. The first floor of the rare life form pavilion was very crowded. After all, there weren't any restrictions, and one could move around freely after scanning their Star Web card. The first floor of the rare life form pavilion gave Lin Yuan a feeling like he was shopping around in a temple fair. Lin Yuan had a matured soul from another world, so he had quickly adapted to this world because he had a home, a young sister, and responsibilities in this world. Another important reason was due to the fact that this world wasn't dark. Those at the bottom might have difficulties, and there were evil people, but this world wasn't cold and indifferent. Take the rare life form pavilion, for example. They were a government transaction organization that had great standards, but they still opened up the first floor to all Radiance Federation citizens. Even if one wasn't a Spirit Chi professional, they would be able to enter after registration. This was a kind of attitude. "Lin Yuan, look at that little white fox. It has 2 tails and is so cute. But I have never seen this fay before in class." Lin Yuan looked at the direction Chu Xi had pointed and recognized the fay. It wasn't a little fox, but a 2-tailed snow ferret. The 2-tailed snow ferret looked cute as it was lazing in the fay storage box. However, it was an extremely rare offense and ice-type fay. It would only occasionally appear in the forest of the extreme northern glacier regions. If Lin Yuan wasn't wearing the glasses transformed from genius and possessed the true data ability, he wouldn't be able to recognize that this cute little critter was a 2-tailed snow ferret. The 2-tailed snow ferret's freeze ability was only found in a few silver elemental-type fays, making it a pinnacle existence. This little 2-tailed snow ferret's price was already raised to a price of 1,100 radiance dollars. In terms of the price, the phase grade would have a great impact, but it was in regards to phase that were frequently traded in the market. As for the rare life form pavilion's phase that people might not even see in their entire lifetime, the price and grade didn't have a huge relation. After all, people who could afford such phase would naturally have the ability to search for creation masters to evolve the phase further. For silver phase like the 2-tailed snow ferret, it wasn't within Lin Yuan's consideration. At that moment, Lin Yuan noticed a person wearing a mask and squatting there. Chapter 65, Butterfly Cocoons. The Rare Lifeform Pavilion's first floor was as lively as the temple fair that Lin Yuan would visit in his previous life. Most of the people walking around had happy faces. As a matter of fact, most of the people shopping around the first floor were those that couldn't harness spirit chi. The spirit chi professionals were the minority here. The Rare Lifeform Pavilion's first floors in the Radiance Federation's main cities would always be the place where ordinary people could get closest to spirit chi professionals. Every display store would have a Fae seller by the side. The two-tailed snow ferret's seller was currently introducing the Fae to a young loli and her mother. One could see that the young loli was genuinely fond of this cute two-tailed snow ferret. However, it was evidently not suitable to be contracted as a first Fae. The spirit chi professional's spiritual energy would constantly become stronger. Nonetheless, due to the first Fae contract's limits, it could only be a bronze Fae. If they wished to go further and contract a silver Fae, the contractor might not be able to take it and would receive a backlash from the Fae. Within the Radiance Federation, there were cases of high-grade Faes being recklessly contracted, resulting in a backlash. It caused the spirit chi professional's spiritual energy to collapse. Once the spiritual energy collapsed, the person would become a vegetable. Even if one could find a high-ranked spirit chi professional to awaken those in a vegetative state, their spiritual spatial zone's damage could never be repaired. It would cause a spirit chi professional to become an ordinary person who could only feel spirit chi but couldn't form a contract with a Fae. The masked man sitting on the ground gave Lin Yuan a feeling that he didn't really fit into the surrounding environment. The surrounding environment was very relaxed and carefree. However, the masked man was sitting cross-legged. It might be hard to see his face clearly, but he was emitting a particularly gloomy aura. The gloomy aura had a trace of emptiness and numbness. This was a feeling that Lin Yuan was rather familiar with. It was the same when Lin Yuan had realized that he couldn't sense spirit chi. At the same time, his mental strength had been so weak to the point he was in despair. However, their family had undergone a major change, and he had to bring Chu Ci around to seek survival. There wasn't a chance for Lin Yuan to immerse himself in his own world. As such, he had suppressed his despair into the bottom of his heart. That despair had finally been resolved only until recently when his body recovered. fruebnovl.com. Of course, Lin Yuan would look at the masked man directly due to the display shelf beside him. There were 4 cocoons wrapped in layers of silk. 3 of the 4 cocoons were about the size of a red date, while the other cocoon was around the size of half a fist. The white silk was weaved together neatly and with a certain pattern. The red date-sized cocoon's silk was in different shades of white, while the fist-sized cocoon had a light green color. These cocoons had caught Lin Yuan's attention because he had activated the True Data ability. These 4 cocoons were all precious. One of the red date-sized white cocoons might look very ordinary, but according to True Data's information, it was nurturing a blue flash butterfly. It had to be known that the blue flash butterfly wasn't well known among the Radiance Federation citizens. It was a normal Fae, had a bright blue color, and its wings would flash with light when it flew. It was due to the blue scale powder on their wings. Therefore, instead of saying they were flying, it would be better to say they were flashing. The blue flash butterfly may not be commonly known, but its evolved form, the blue light goddess butterfly, was crowned as the 6th most beautiful Fae among the top 10. It was also the only insect-type Fae among the top 10 most beautiful Faes. In fact, there was always a dispute about the rank of the blue light goddess butterfly. During the rankings, the popularity of the blue light goddess butterfly had been among the top 3. However, the blue light goddess butterfly only possessed a basic ability that was strong, while its high-grade abilities were all rather useless. As such, it could only rank number 6 even though its popularity was among the top 3. This incident still created a lot of dissatisfaction among the voters. Lin Yuan just so happened that he wanted the blue flash butterfly's basic ability, silence scale powder. When the blue flash butterfly scale powder was released, it had the silence effect. Silence was a very powerful control type ability. When Faes evolved, there were only 2 different directions. One was toward the ancestry line, while the other was toward spiritual mutation. Spiritual mutation Faes were all treading on the path of magic attacks. Silence scale powder was a counter for spiritual mutation Faes. When enveloped by the silence scale powder, Faes wouldn't be able to release their abilities. However, the silence scale powder was not invincible, as it couldn't counter exclusive skills. In fact, if the opposing Fae was able to disperse the blue flash butterfly silence scale powder, the affected Fae would be able to restore its abilities immediately. Despite the case, the silence scale powder was still among the strongest control abilities. Lin Yuan had been deliberating over the next fei for Morbius to use its spirit lock. He had thought of many options, but he had never considered the blue flash butterfly. The reason was simple and straightforward: Lin Yuan didn't have the capability to obtain a blue flash butterfly. But now, the cocoons in the masked man's display shelf had given Lin Yuan the thought. Butterfly species phase were part of the order Lepidoptera, which was one of the 4 major orders among the insect species. They were considered the true royalty among the insect-type phase. After the spirit chi awakening, the butterfly species phase had evolved under the influence of spirit chi, allowing them to become bigger and more beautiful. It also allowed the butterfly's natural enemies to capture them easily. Thus, 90% of the order Lepidoptera phase had gone extinct during the spirit chi awakening. The remaining 10% had also been gradually eliminated due to various reasons. It was also why butterfly species phase rarely appeared and were very hard to find. The beauty and rarity of the butterfly species phase made their price high for a hollow reason. Had it not been for only a few rare butterfly species phase that were dominant and that most of them weren't adept in combat, the butterfly species phase prices would not have been this high. As such, Lin Yuan hadn't dared to even consider the blue flash butterfly's basic ability as a choice before this. The butterfly species phase had a special trait: it was impossible to determine the butterfly species when they were still in their cocoons. If some other method was used to check the butterfly species, it might just cause development problems to the butterfly species phase. This was also the reason why no butterfly species phase still in their cocoons appeared in the market. Coincidentally, among the 4 cocoons was an earth powder butterfly, which was extremely suitable for Chu Ci. The earth powder butterfly wasn't rare, but it had an extreme variation during its evolution path. Hence, when the earth powder butterfly evolved, its evolution direction was truly varied. One of the evolution directions was the one Lin Yuan planned for Chu Ci. When the earth powder butterfly evolved with pure spirit chi until bronze grade, it would evolve into the Vajra butterfly. Once it became a Vajra butterfly and fed with special gemstones and spirit chi, it would evolve into the Jadeite butterfly. If the Jadeite butterfly had the chance to reach the fantasy breed realm, it could even evolve into the legendary Tourmaline Emperor butterfly. Chapter 66, Mishaps. Lin Yuan pulled Chu Ci toward the masked man's counter. Before encountering it, Lin Yuan hadn't even dared to choose the blue flash butterfly. He hadn't put the blue flash butterfly within his consideration during his contemplation because of the rarity. However, since he found one now, and it was a coincidental encounter, it was definitely a great opportunity. Lin Yuan didn't have a reason not to grab this opportunity. Thus, he had already silently decided to obtain this blue flash butterfly no matter what. Chu Ci could see that Lin Yuan's expression had turned serious when he was walking toward the 4 cocoons. She simply followed Lin Yuan silently and carefully observed the 4 cocoons. She couldn't see anything abnormal with them, but she knew that the cocoons were extraordinary because Lin Yuan viewed them with such seriousness. "Could I ask for the price of the 4 cocoons?" Lin Yuan asked. When the voice reached the masked man's ears, he didn't stand up and just responded indifferently, "I will only accept if you take them all. You just have to pay me 120 radiance dollars, and you can take them all." Lin Yuan was astonished. Although 120 radiance dollars wasn't a price that was enough to purchase a blue flash butterfly, it was still too expensive for cocoons. After all, it was impossible to check what the cocoons contained. Each cocoon was like a fortune bag as it was unknown what would fly out of the cocoon. As such, it was extremely rare for cocoons to be sold on the market. Lin Yuan might want the blue flash butterfly, but he wouldn't immediately decide to purchase these 4 cocoons. Just as he was thinking of how to counteroffer, a middle-aged lady beside Lin Yuan suddenly said, "Young man, don't be cheated. This person has been here for several days. It is unknown what backhanded methods he has actually used to set up a stall with 4 butterfly cocoons. How can butterfly cocoons be qualified to be sold in the rare lifeform pavilion? The other stalls are only selling butterfly cocoons for 50,000 Federation dollars, but this person is selling 1 cocoon for 30 radiance dollars. Will a bronze fei fly out of it directly?" The middle-aged lady was obviously afraid that Lin Yuan might be swindled and had spoken slightly louder. Numerous people in the vicinity started to look in their direction. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard the masked man's exhausted and hoarse voice. "These 4 cocoons are all butterfly cocoons. They all came from the depths of the endless forest." The masked man spoke indifferently and stopped talking afterward. The middle-aged lady beside Lin Yuan was even angrier now as she said, "The shortest tree in the depths of the endless forest is already 30 meters in height. The cocoons are hidden under the leaves of those giant trees. How can you even find them?" When Ling Yuan heard the masked man's words, he felt an obstinate tone within those words stimulated his heart. The explanation might be obstinate and was weak in strength, but it was lonesome and abnormally determined. Clamor echoed in the surroundings, constantly getting louder. This store was now the liveliest place on the Rare Lifeform Pavilion's first floor. All things in this world couldn't escape a phenomenon like the eye of a hurricane. It was how everyone was gathered in the same direction. The store was now the eye of the hurricane, and it was constantly attracting everyone. At that moment, a Rare Lifeform Pavilion's attendant wearing special clothing approached. When the attendant took a look at the situation, he immediately said to the middle-aged lady, who was chattering non-stop, "Auntie, I know you might be kind-hearted, but the Rare Lifeform Pavilion stores are all approved by the Rare Lifeform Pavilion." When the middle-aged lady heard that, and mostly due to the Rare Lifeform Pavilion as a guarantee, she didn't speak in a tone as though she was speaking with a swindler. However, she still pointed at the 4 cocoons and asked, "Why are these 4 butterfly cocoons qualified to be in the Rare Lifeform Pavilion? Isn't it impossible to check the butterfly species while they are still metamorphosing within the cocoon?" The middle-aged lady's words stumped the staff member as he didn't know what to say for a moment. "I cannot possibly say that the management asked me to provide special treatment, right?" The staff member was also feeling doubtful as to why the management would provide such great treatment to a depressed masked man. They had even broken a common rule regarding the Rare Lifeform Pavilion's first floor by making an exception. Could it be because of wealth and authority? But it's obviously impossible with the likes of this masked man. What else could it be? I really cannot think of a reason. At that moment, the masked man's mobile phone rang. He picked up the call, and his body immediately tensed up. ewebnovel.com. Ling Yuan might not be able to see the masked man's face, but he knew that it was definitely not calm. After the call, the masked man looked at Ling Yuan and said, "If you wish to buy them tomorrow, come at the same time in the evening. I can give you proof that I obtained these butterfly cocoons in the depths of the endless forest." The masked man then left the Rare Lifeform Pavilion in a hurry. Ling Yuan didn't expect that his slight hesitation had caused so many mishaps. Now that the seller had left, it was obvious that the trade wasn't going to happen. Since the masked man had already said he would be there the next day, Ling Yuan decided to return tomorrow. Ling Yuan didn't really have peace of mind since he hadn't completed the trade and obtained the blue flash butterfly. At the same time, Ling Yuan had an idea. If he were to find another good fei, as long as he could afford it, he wouldn't hesitate. Otherwise, the opportunity might just slip away in an instant. After experiencing this incident, Ling Yuan wasn't in the mood to continue shopping around the Rare Lifeform Pavilion's first floor. If he could complete this trade tomorrow, one of these 4 butterfly cocoons would contain the Vitra butterfly. Thus, Chu Ci would also obtain her second fei. Everything would be decided tomorrow night. After sending Chu Ci back to the academy, Ling Yuan took a car and arrived at the Creation Master Association's vicinity. He then looked for a place to reside and prepared to participate in the Creation Master exam tomorrow morning. In the City Lord residence, which wasn't far from the Creation Master Association, was a woman seated on the City Lord residence's Lord's seat. She was wearing alizarin, crimson clothes. She spoke to 3 individuals who were standing before her. Add twice as many men at the dimensional rifts around Redbud City's vicinity. Reinforcements must be provided within 2 months. Put tomorrow's matters aside and prepare a proposal to discuss with me at night. 2 of the men acknowledged and withdrew from the place, while an old man continued to stand there. "Lordess Ling Xiao, may I know your opinion on the seated participants from this batch's Spirit Chi students?" he asked. Ling Xiao took out a massive silk book. It was filled with rows of personal information, but almost all of them had been crossed out. The silk book had over 100 nominations of seated participants, and there were only 5 that had been given a tick. There were also close to 30 that were given a question mark. I have already decided on 5 of the 20 Redbud 100 seated participants. The remaining 34 will be kept for observation. Pay more attention to the student whose elite fei has the sacrifice ability. If the student has great potential, then add that student too. Chapter 67, Class 1 Exam. The white-haired elder stood below and listened seriously to Ling Zhao's arrangements. However, he was obviously unclear with Ling Zhao's arrangement and asked, "Lordess Ling Xiao, according to the norm, the lower-grade students are all put in reserve. Their potential would only be determined in the second year, according to their first year's performance. Why would you pay so much attention to a first-year student?" The white-haired elder was the Redbud Advanced Spirit Chi Academy's dean. The Redbud Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy was considered Redbud Advanced Spirit Chi Academy Sub-Academy. Therefore, the elder had already vetted the name list before handing it over to Ling Xiao. The elder would provide ranking information every month. The names on the ranking would constantly be changing, and they would be evaluated with their growth for each month. Redbud City was a large-scale city in the Radiance Federation, and it was filled with resources. However, their nurturing toward the young generation wasn't as outstanding as Redbud City's economy. Redbud City was ranked top 5 among the 32 large-scale cities within the Radiance Federation in terms of economy. Presently, Redbud City only had 3 members within the Radiance 100. One of them had even dropped out of the Radiance 100 sequence 2 years ago, due to some reason. This was why Ling Xiao paid extra attention to the younger generation's nurturing and development. Ling Xiao had given to the white-haired elder the heavy responsibility of collecting the information on every potential youth within Redbud City. Afterward, Ling Xiao would act as the filter to select 20 seated participants for the Redbud 100. The remaining 80 members wouldn't be selected by Ling Xiao and would be decided through competition. The white-haired elder didn't understand her reasoning because this first-year student had just participated in live combat class and could only determine the student's innate talent. It was impossible to see the potential, but Lordess Ling Xiao picked the student, nonetheless. One's innate talent was natural, and it was indeed very important. However, the elder felt that the potential for hard work and diligence was also very important. Just do it according to my words. After speaking, Ling Xiao stopped talking and lowered her head. She was carefully looking at the name list in her hand and using a pen to write down the sequence for the students with question marks. The white-haired elder asked to be dismissed. When he left, he couldn't help but lament. Lordess Ling Xiao's personality was really getting increasingly overbearing, but since it was a task appointed by her, the elder would naturally do his best to complete it. The grand hall was in silence. Ling Xiao's alizarin, crimson clothes felt as though they dyed the grand hall with layers of bright colors. After a long time, Ling Xiao stood up and used her hand to stroke the spiritual ingredient ornament. This year, the Redbud 100 should have a higher chance of making it into the Radiance 100. The exclusive skill, Sacrifice, actually appeared again. However, all these things are considered trivial as compared to the event tomorrow. The young man who broke the record of getting full marks for the 3 knowledge spirit chi occupations, will he be able to pass and become a Class 2 creation master? The Moon Empress actually said to report to her if the young man is able to pass the Class 2 Creation Master exam on the first try. Even if that young man, Lin Yuan, is a heavenly prodigy, if he isn't able to make it directly to become a Class 2 Creation Master, he won't stand a chance. Had it not been for Redbud City's previous calamity, things wouldn't be so difficult like now. Everything will be up to tomorrow. Lin Yuan woke up early the next day. He noticed that Genius was still sleeping soundly within his embrace. Lin Yuan then used his hand to gently stroke Genius' snow-white fur. It was soft to the touch, and he was reluctant to let go. FREUBNOV.EL.com. Genius used its small head to rub against Lin Yuan's hand and gave off a lazy feeling. Lin Yuan smiled and scratched Genius' chin, which made Genius so comfortable that it started purring. While looking at Genius, Lin Yuan involuntarily recalled Chimey and wondered what it had been doing in the small store for the past day or so. Genius then let out a meow. Lin Yuan was worried about Chimey, but Genius wasn't. It didn't even know what time Chimey had slept yesterday night. Well, it might have constantly been streaming on the star web. When the sun was up in the sky, scattering warmth, the streets started to become busy. Lin Yuan immediately headed toward the Creation Master Association. When he arrived at the Creation Master Association, he could see Elder Ning standing at the entrance from afar. After taking a deep breath of the morning air, Elder Ning waved to Lin Yuan and said, "Come on then. Follow me to the Class 1 exam. This old man will personally preside over your Class 1 Creation Master exam." Lin Yuan quickly bowed in response. "I shall trouble Elder Ning." Elder Ning then patted on Lin Yuan's shoulder and said, "Let's go. I have prepared a solitary breeding room for you today. You will conduct the exam in the breeding room." When a creation master was nurturing a fae, an extremely serene environment was required. Nurturing faes with the use of spiritual ingredients was a very delicate job, and there must be no disturbance. Lin Yuan followed behind Elder Ning. "The Class 1 Creation Master exam is very simple for me, but I have to carefully consider how to perform during the exam." "How exactly should I perform? If I am able to complete the Class 1 Creation Master exam easily, will it really be beneficial to me? The wind would definitely destroy an outstanding tree in the forest." This was a problem that Lin Yuan would always have to face. In this world, Lin Yuan had to rely on himself for everything as he didn't have any foundation. Each of the steps he took would require careful consideration. If he took a wrong step, he wouldn't just be harming himself, but he would also implicate Chu Xi. Just as Lin Yuan was contemplating, Elder Ning turned around and spoke after seeing Lin Yuan's expression. There is no need to be nervous. Didn't you say that all questions are difficult if you don't know them, but once you know them, they aren't difficult? If you are really able to make it to class 2 like what you said yesterday, even this old man will be envious of you. After hearing Elder Ning's words, Lin Yuan ground his teeth. I will go all out. Since I have already gotten full marks for the 3 Knowledge Spirit Chi Occupations exams and broken the records, I shall also put in all my effort in the Creation Master exam and take this step forward. If Elder Ning is speaking like this, he surely wouldn't mean harm to me. I just don't know if it is worth it for Elder Ning to be envious of me. Why does Elder Ning say so? Elder Ning laughed heartily. Kid, you are rather ambitious. If you wish to know of the benefit, you will need to ask after passing the Class 2 Creation Master exam. Lin Yuan could see that Elder Ning was looking at him with eyes that were filled with expectations. Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't let Elder Ning down. It seemed like passing the Class 2 Creation Master exam directly would really have a great benefit. The Creation Master Association's reformation was naturally for a reason, and there was probably a very deep consideration for it. Lin Yuan wasn't able to guess the details of the consideration, but he could guess that this reformation was to pick new creation masters that had potential. After walking into the breeding room, Lin Yuan saw an elite Fae that was locked up on the table. It was an elite 9/flawless Fae. Lin Yuan then saw the exam topic on the table. He had to evolve this elite 9/flawless Ironhead Stoat to bronze grade. The Creation Master exam had a time restriction. If the participant couldn't evolve the elite Ironhead Stoat to a bronze one within 8 hours, it would be considered a failure. Chapter 68, Ling Xiao. If Lin Yuan wished to evolve this Ironhead Stoat, he would only require 1 hour to evolve it from the elite 9/flawless to bronze grade. Even if he wanted to increase the quality to epic before evolving to bronze grade, he would only require around 2 hours. Lin Yuan looked at the spiritual ingredients on the table. Among them, there was the sharp pine needle and the heavy iron Oregon. Both spiritual ingredients were rather expensive. If these spiritual ingredients on the table were sold outside, they would at least be able to fetch $2 radiance. This was just a Class 1 Creation Master exam, and it was already enough to see the resources and cost required for higher class Creation Master exams. This was also enough to see that the Radiance Federation was putting in plenty of effort and resources to nurture Creation Masters. Once these resources were used up, they wouldn't be compensated. It was no wonder the Creation Master exams would only be conducted once a year. Lin Yuan picked up the spiritual ingredients on the table. Unlike other Creation Masters, he didn't use his own method to make a concoction with the spiritual ingredients. Instead, Lin Yuan fed the spiritual ingredients to the elite Ironhead Stoat directly and started to transfer spirit chi into its body. Although feeding the spiritual ingredients to the Ironhead Stoat wouldn't cause it to evolve directly, it could help Lin Yuan to speed up the evolution process. It originally required 1 hour, but it was now shortened to 40 minutes. The Ironhead Stoat started to evolve with an intense reaction. After the evolution, the Ironhead Stoat was now a bronze Fae. As such, Lin Yuan had completed the Class 1 Creation Master exam and simply walked out of the breeding room. Since he had decided to showcase himself, he wasn't going to hold back. Only by exposing his talents would he be able to receive more attention. After exiting the breeding room, Lin Yuan noticed that there was another lady in an alizarin, crimson dress, by the entrance along with Elder Ning. This lady looked to be no more than 28 years old, however, her aura showcased that she was someone important. A regular 28-year-old lady wouldn't possess such an aura. She was probably a powerful person. FREAWebnovel.com. Elder Ning walked over and asked Lin Yuan with a frown, did the concoction of spiritual ingredients fail? Why did you exit the breeding room so quickly? Even if Lin Yuan had failed, Elder Ning wouldn't blame Lin Yuan. On the contrary, he would still admire Lin Yuan for his knowledge exam's results. But now, Lin Yuan had already walked out of the breeding room after only 40 minutes, and in Elder Ning's opinion, Lin Yuan must have given up halfway through. Even if the spiritual ingredients concoction had really failed, Lin Yuan should still have tried to see if the rest of the spiritual ingredients could produce an effect to help the Fae complete its evolution. This was a kind of attitude. Ling Xiao looked at Lin Yuan and didn't say anything. When Lin Yuan exited, he wanted to tell Elder Ning that he had already completed the exam, but he didn't expect Elder Ning to feel that he had already failed. Elder Ning, I have already succeeded. The concoction of the spiritual ingredients didn't fail. I have completed the exam. Lin Yuan's words stunned Elder Ning. The latter immediately walked into the breeding room to check on Lin Yuan's result. At that moment, Lin Yuan noticed the silent lady walk over, and she said, "Your participation in the 3 Knowledge Spirit Chi occupations exams yesterday was very exciting. Now it seems like your creation master's talent is also very promising." The lady's method of speaking made Lin Yuan at a loss of how to reply for a moment. When this lady was speaking to him, Lin Yuan felt that she wasn't praising him, but she was standing from a certain angle to state the facts. The flow of conversation made Lin Yuan feel very strange. Her tone was filled with admiration but also felt very distant. At that moment, Elder Ning walked out of the breeding room, and when he saw the lady conversing with Lin Yuan, he introduced them. "Lin Yuan, this is our Redbud City Lordess. Lordess Ling Xiao." After introducing Ling Xiao, Elder Ning looked at Lin Yuan with a face that was overflowing with pleasant surprise and admiration. "Kid Yuan, well done. You have completed the Class 1 Creation Master exam within 40 minutes. Ling Xiao didn't reply to Elder Ning's words immediately and bowed to Ling Xiao solemnly. "Greetings to the city lordess." Lin Yuan finally understood why he would feel so strange when this lady was speaking to him. Redbud City was scorching and rainy, and it was always covered in dark clouds. City Lordess Ling Xiao was famous for her fantasy breed Fae, the High Firmament Flower. Every time a hurricane that could create a flood would arrive, the High Firmament Flower would smash the rain clouds. It was also why Redbud City might be stuffy and humid, and there would be rain every few days, but there had never been a flood. It wasn't only the case. A very long time ago, a superscaled dimensional rift had appeared within Redbud City's region, and in order to protect Redbud City, City Lordess Ling Xiao had been severely injured. She might have been healed in the end, but it affected her emotions, causing her to be in this state. Lin Yuan lived in Redbud City and was protected by Ling Xiao, so Lin Yuan felt respect for Ling Xiao from the bottom of his heart. Had she not tried to protect Redbud City, a King-class expert like Ling Xiao wouldn't have been severely injured. Ling Xiao shook her hand and patted on Lin Yuan's shoulder. She might not have any emotions when speaking, nor did she have any change in expressions, but Lin Yuan felt as though he could feel that sudden joy. "Are you going to participate in the Class 2 Creation Master exam immediately?" Lin Yuan nodded and heard Ling Xiao speaking again. "Why don't you go through the Class 2 Creation Master exam tomorrow? You have just completed the Class 1 Creation Master exam today and should rest for a day. You will then be able to participate in the Class 2 Creation Master exam tomorrow at your best state and produce a more stable performance." Ling Xiao didn't know why, but he could feel that Ling Xiao viewed his Class 2 Creation Master exam with great importance. It was the same for Elder Ning too. Lin Yuan replied, "It is fine for me to participate in the Class 2 Creation Master exam now. I didn't really use up much energy during the Class 1 Creation Master exam." Ling Xiao looked toward Elder Ning and saw the latter nodding. Ling Xiao didn't say anything else. "Great, kid, you can just go into the same breeding room and conduct the Class 2 Creation Master exam. The Class 2 Creation Master exam isn't as simple as the Class 1 Creation Master exam. You don't just have to upgrade an elite/normal Fae to the epic quality. You still have to heal a bronze Fae with damaged roots," Elder Ning said to Lin Yuan. Elder Ning was obviously more worried about Lin Yuan's Class 2 Creation Master exam. Class 1 Creation Masters would normally need years of experience before they were qualified to participate in the Class 2 Creation Master exam. In addition, the passing rate was pitifully low. The Class 1 Creation Master exam was just to evolve a Fae to the next grade, but the Class 2 Creation Master exam involved the Fae's quality and roots. When one became a Class 2 Creation Master, they would be considered to have stepped into the true world of the Creation Masters. Each Class 2 Creation Master was the Radiance Federation's important capital. As for the current Lin Yuan, even if Elder Ning had great expectations, he still couldn't relax. In fact, when the Moon Empress proposed for the Reformation, Elder Ning felt that the Moon Empress standard for accepting a disciple was too harsh. Lin Yuan had already entered the breeding room and was preparing to go through the challenge for the Class 2 Creation Master exam. Chapter 69, A Fae's Gratitude. The Class 1 Creation Master exam was just a doorstep. It was a filter to see if one had the qualifications to become a Creation Master, and it was considered the easiest exam. However, it was an exam that blocked out countless people. The Class 2 exam was much harder because becoming a Class 2 Creation Master would mean that one was an all-round Creation Master. It wasn't just to increase the Fae's grade, but it was also to upgrade the quality of the Fae and heal a severely injured Fae's roots. Free web novel. Therefore, this obstacle wouldn't be so easy for a regular Class 1 Creation Master to surpass. Moreover, Lin Yuan was still so young. Ling Xiao still had that indifferent expression, but her hands were tightly clenched together. Lin Yuan entered the breeding room and picked up the exam topic. It stated that Lin Yuan had to evolve a Fae, and it was an elite/flawless jasmine lily. Lin Yuan couldn't help but lament his fate with jasmine lilies. The other Fae made Lin Yuan's brows knit together, as it was actually a cyan crab that was the size of a small round table. The massive crab was lying there with its dying breath, and it felt as though it was experiencing extreme suffering. It was a sheer pincer's crab. It was a bronze Fae that could fight in water, and its massive pincers could produce a burst of strength that could snap steel-reinforced bars. Lin Yuan couldn't see the injuries just from the appearance of the sheer pincer's crab, however, it was supposed to be a very lively Fae. It was currently lying there at its dying breath, and its mouth was bubbling with foam every now and then. Lin Yuan immediately understood that the sheer pincer's crab's injuries were extremely severe. As soon as Lin Yuan touched the sheer pincer's crab's shell, he knew what was wrong with it. When Lin Yuan touched the sheer pincer's crab's hard shell, it actually sank in a little when it was supposed to be hard like an armor. As soon as Lin Yuan pressed down, the sheer pincer's crab would shiver with pain. Lin Yuan didn't dare to use any more strength as it was obvious that the sheer pincer's crab's shell was completely shattered. But due to the membrane on the back, the shattered shells were still connected. If the membrane wasn't around, the sheer pincer's crab's shell would have already broken into pieces. If the outside shell was already in such a state, it was obvious that the sheer pincer's crab's innards had suffered from the impact too. If such injuries persisted, in just a short moment, the sheer pincer's crab would perish. Looking at the pained sheer pincer's crab, Lin Yuan immediately reached out and touched the sheer pincer's crab's body. This time, he didn't immediately channel spirit chi to help recover the sheer pincer's crab's injuries. Instead, he used Morbius' exclusive skill, Pure Land of Bliss. In an instant, a sandy shore appeared under the sheer pincer's crab, and it was just enough to accommodate the sheer pincer's crab. The lustrous and jade-like sand emitted energy to heal the sheer pincer's crab's roots, allowing the sheer pincer's crab's injuries to heal in a short moment. The sheer pincer's crab was trying to move its pincers with difficulty as though it was feeling its body recovering. When Lin Yuan activated the Pure Land of Bliss, he had also reached out to press on the sheer pincer's crab's body to channel spirit chi to heal its roots. In around 2 hours, Lin Yuan gradually healed the sheer pincer's crab with Pure Land of Bliss activation. He didn't enter the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone to heal the sheer pincer's crab. The Spirit Lock Spatial Zone was Lin Yuan's trump card, and he would never expose it. This was Lin Yuan's first time using the Pure Land of Bliss. Previously, when Lin Yuan had healed a bronze Fae's roots, it had taken him 4 hours. With the help of Pure Land of Bliss, half the time was cut down. This meant that the Pure Land of Bliss healing power was similar to his channeling of spirit chi to heal the Fae's roots. Lin Yuan involuntarily lamented at the power of Pure Land of Bliss. The effects of Pure Land of Bliss was actually related to the spirit chi density in the surroundings. It also meant that if the Fae was placed within the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, the recovery time could be further shortened. Once Lin Yuan finished healing the bronze sheer pincer's crab, he prepared to upgrade the jasmine lily's quality. He suddenly noticed the sheer pincer's crab snipping on the protruding part above its shell. It snipped off a huge protruding piece and handed it to Lin Yuan before blowing bubbles in a silly manner. Lin Yuan had obtained a creation master's capability for some time now, but this scene still gave him a shock that he had never experienced before. All living things had intelligence and knew how to be grateful. According to the knowledge that Lin Yuan had learned from Genius, sheer pincer's crabs cherished their crab stone on the top of their shell almost obsessively. The crab stone was a kind of spiritual ingredient. It might not be expensive, but it was the most important possession to a Fae like the sheer pincer's crab. When harvesting the crab stone from the sheer pincer's crab's shell, it would risk its life to protect it. The sheer pincer's crab knew that Lin Yuan had rescued it and had personally removed the crab stone as a gift for Lin Yuan. This was a form of gratitude that transcended species, and it gave Lin Yuan an indescribable feeling. It was a throbbing sensation. The throbbing sensation contained an instinctive understanding toward all living things. Faes were just like humans and possessed feelings. After Lin Yuan received the crab stone from the sheer pincer's crab, the latter then started to roam around the breeding room in a silly manner. It had now restored its originally lively personality. Lin Yuan stored the crab stone within the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone in a serious manner. He would keep this crab stone as a token of encouragement and responsibility as a creation master. Lin Yuan was already proficient in upgrading an elite Fae's quality to epic. Thus, Lin Yuan completed the Jasmine Lily's upgrade without any problems. Now that Lin Yuan had already completed the Class 2 Creation Master exam, he looked at the spiritual ingredients that he had yet to use. He then took out a portion of the spiritual ingredients that he should use and stored them in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. After bidding goodbye to the sheer pincer's crab, Lin Yuan exited the breeding room again. Before Elder Ning could even ask, Ling Xiao asked as soon as she saw Lin Yuan exiting the room, "How is it?" Lin Yuan revealed a Sunshine Boy's unique smile and said, "The sheer pincer's crab is healed, and the jasmine lily's quality has become epic." After hearing Lin Yuan's response, Ling Xiao's clenched fists were finally relaxed before she said 3 consecutive great while looking at Lin Yuan with admiration. Elder Ning quickly entered the breeding room to check. After verifying that Lin Yuan had completed the exam, he laughed heartily and walked out. Heroes are really born from the young generations. You took just 3.5 hours to complete the Class 2 Creation Master exam and even completed it with such outstanding results. You are the most talented creation master this old man has seen in so many years. Later on, this old man will personally register your proof as a Class 2 Creation Master and issue you with the crest of a Class 2 Creation Master, and also the special privileges that Creation Masters can enjoy. Chapter 70, Class 2 Creation Master. Lin Yuan's heart was finally at ease after he finished the Class 2 Creation Master exam. This was a plan that Lin Yuan had decided early on, and now that he had accomplished it, he was able to relax. After passing the Creation Master exam in Redbud City, the Creation Masters will obtain a merchant store. Later on, I will ask someone to send the merchant store's information to your Star Web account. It will be easier for you to make a choice on the Star Web store. Ling Xiao left the Creation Master Association after informing Lin Yuan. Ling Xiao's footsteps were very light as she walked, and it was easy to see that she was delighted. Previously, if Ling Xiao encountered a Class 2 Creation Master who had just completed the exam, she would definitely try to recruit and make the Class 2 Creation Master stay within Redbud City. A Class 2 Creation Master could greatly develop no matter which major city they chose. They could even have a good store in the royal capital. All the major cities were also competing, be it the qualifications for the Radiance 100 or the resources for the Creation Masters. These were all crucial factors to compete over. As for Ling Xiao, she would definitely prepare a good store. However, Ling Xiao didn't feel the need to recruit Lin Yuan. After all, Lin Yuan had already fulfilled the Moon Empress criterion, and she would report Lin Yuan's information to the Moon Empress. The Moon Empress will make her arrangements and will also take care of Redbud City's matters. This will be enough. Lin Yuan scratched his head. He already knew that the Creation Masters had great benefits, but he didn't think that the Redbud City would actually reward Class 2 Creation Masters with a store. The Redbud City was a major city in the Radiance Federation, and it wouldn't be exaggerating to say that every inch of land was considered gold. Possessing a store in Redbud City was something that Lin Yuan would never dare to think about in the past. But now, even if Lin Yuan obtained a store in Redbud City, he wasn't going to leave the Xiao region. After all, establishing a store in Redbud City wasn't within Lin Yuan's current plan. Lin Yuan's current plan was still to snowball and accumulate resources, as well as increase the grade of his phase and his spirit G occupation rank. He wanted to reach the top 100 floors of the Star Tower and progress to the Celestial Stairway. After Lin Yuan completed the registration with Elder Ning and obtained the Creation Master Association's authentication, he was now approved as a Class 2 Creation Master. In addition, it was bound to his Star Web account. From now on, Lin Yuan would be an approved Class 2 Creation Master. A pair of aged hands held onto a crest that was decorated with life symbols and 2 stars. The hands then solemnly pinned the crest on Lin Yuan's chest. Lin Yuan, from now on, you are a Class 2 Creation Master that is officially recognized by the Radiance Federation's Creation Master Association. Do your best on the path of a Creation Master. Elder Ning's "do your best" made a huge impact, and it felt as though they had a magical power that struck Lin Yuan's heart after passing through his ears. It felt like a kind of inheritance. It was a recognition and encouragement from a senior to a junior. Lin Yuan nodded in a serious manner. Elder Ning, I will continue to work hard and will not be complacent at all times. In the beginning, becoming a Creation Master was Lin Yuan's method to continue surviving. However, the Creation Master occupation was now something that Lin Yuan enjoyed. Be it the ability to feel the transformation of life or the process of saving a life, they were all things that Lin Yuan felt proud of. Elder Ning laughed heartily while his eyes were filled with benevolence. You have also done something good today. Lin Yuan couldn't really understand what Elder Ning meant. What good? Naturally, something good. This bronze sheer pincer's crab is a contracted fae with an owner. Since you healed this sheer pincer's crab, you have also rescued the life of a spirit G professional. Is this not considered a good thing? Yub novel. Lin Yuan didn't expect that the injured sheer pincer's crab was actually a contracted fae with an owner. Elder Ning explained, when spirit G professionals are training in the outside world, if they encounter sudden danger, the fae might suffer injuries to their roots. Most of these spirit Chi professionals don't have the capability to heal their fae's injured roots. During the Creation Master Association's Creation Master exams, these people are given a chance. If the Creation Master passes the exam, they will naturally save a person. If they don't pass, it will be a risk that the spirit Chi professionals have to bear. This is a proposal that was agreed upon by the 3 top masters. After the 3 top masters made the exam topic, the Creation Master Association would spend huge resources every year to conduct the exam. However, this old man thinks that it is very worth it. After listening to Elder Ning's explanation, Lin Yuan understood what was going on when Elder Ning said he had done something good. Today, he had passed the exam and also rescued a stranger, giving it twice the meaning. The Creation Master Association's action showed a warm side of this world. This warmth came from the Radiance Federation, and it was the place where Lin Yuan lived. The warmth was constantly strengthening Lin Yuan's sense of belonging. Elder Ning helped Lin Yuan to carefully wear his Class 2 Creation Master crest and said, "You can just wear this Class 2 Creation Master crest during normal times. It can also be used as a decoration when entering the Star Web. Wearing this crest will bring you plenty of conveniences. Also, this is another Star Web card. Take it." This particular Star Web card was something that Lin Yuan always wanted. When one's status reached a certain level in the Radiance Federation, they would be able to obtain a second Star Web card. The Radiance Federation approved this Star Web card, and it was the same as giving a person 2 identities in the Star Web. Creation Masters could use this Star Web card as their second identity, providing them a kind of protection. Lin Yuan planned to split his identity as a Creation Master and his identity in the Star Tower. He was going to use his identity as a Creation Master to build the Star Web store, while his other identity would challenge the Star Tower. Lin Yuan received the Star Web card from Elder Ning, stored it, and was just about to bid farewell. However, Elder Ning stopped him. "Why are you in such a hurry? Take this as well." Elder Ning handed him a small box. When he opened the box, 2 crests that were engraved with 2 stars and a shield appeared. These are retainer crests for Class 2 Creation Masters. Class 2 Creation Masters are able to accept 2 Spirit Chi professionals as their retainers, and they serve as vassals. However, the Creation Master needs to help nurture the retainer's phase. These 2 crests represent that the Radiance Federation can recognize that you have 2 retainers. For retainers that violate the retainer responsibilities, you can propose for arbitration to the Radiance Federation. But when choosing a retainer, you must carefully inspect their character. Elder Ning gestured upon seeing Lin Yuan store the box. "Kid, you can go now. When you are free, come over to Redbud City to visit this old man. If there is anything else, Ling Xiao and I will contact you." When Lin Yuan stepped out of the Creation Master Association's entrance, it was already dark. Different from when he arrived, he was now a genuine Class 2 Creation Master.